Still pretty close, actually. I mean, it's a gap of only 3 games, and it's very early in the season. We'll say hello first to Dan from Woodbury, and now to Carl Gerbschmidt as well.
I don't know. I remember in the past we would always have changes in the standings because we would have. It seems like we're miscounting already. I don't think I'm better than Nate, but I don't have any proof because I've not wrote them down, so I guess I got to trust it.
You're suspicious, is what you're saying.
I would say if this doesn't work out for Garza, he could always he could spend some time on left field foul line.
Or election judge, Chicago, Illinois. That'd be another good job for him. One or the other, exactly. Gerby, can you hear us as well?
Yeah. Hello, Dan.
How are you, Carl?
Yeah, I'm pretty good. I'm at a convention in Chicago, Illinois right now.
A convention?
Yeah, it's a road workers convention, and it's very exciting. We're in a very high building here.
What?
You have an orange cone on your head? Does everybody wear orange cones instead of the cheese wedge, or what do they do?
No, they don't do that. That's a pretty good one, though.
Oh, yeah, actually, Dan from Woodbury, that's impressive. It is rare to get a chuckle out of Carl when he's not laughing.
Is that Dan from Woodbury talking?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, baby.
He's not very funny.
Well,
my.
Are you all right, Dan from Woodbury?
Stuck in traffic. And,
let's just say
a couple of ships passing in the night.
Let's just say you've made eye contact.
Let's just say, and I'm feeling uncomfortable with the way she's ogling me.
Carl, what the hell do you do at a highway convention? I can't imagine how you fill the time. What do you do other than get drunk?
There are different new measurement tools that they give us to use, and there's lectures on different sorts of new surfaces that some of the states are testing out, and then you drink a lot.
Now, what about... Now, have they discovered any new, cleaners that are a little more effective of getting the roadkill stain off the highway that you have to usually...
Again, Dan, I tried to tell you every time you try to bring this up, but that's not part of my job. Okay, I don't do that. All right, that's a function of Dunn County, not the state.
I see.
Okay, so that, thanks a lot for trying to make me feel like, I'm not what... This is a very important job.
Are you pothole repair?
I inspect
Seems
them.
like it would work.
I make recommendations on how we repair. I don't actually do repair.
How about crackpot repair? Because you'd be right there at the front of the line.
Well, I bet your show was really good today, wasn't it? You had a very funny show.
It wasn't much today, no. You tried. I'm trying. I mean, I'm doing the best I can. I'm stuck in traffic. I'm being distracted by a woman that's ogling me.
Tell her to stop staring at you.
I wish she would, but she keeps looking at me.
No switch, huh?
Don't have one.
You know who's even dumber than Viking fans?
Who?
Bears fans.
Why are they dumb?
They are just so dumb.
How are they dumb?
Oh, my God. They're just so unrealistic. They just think they're the greatest fans in the world, and they think they're so smart. And it's like all they hate on the Packers all day. These are the stupidest people in the world, I think. They're even stupider than Minnesota.
Well, I tell you what, it's hard to top the stupidity of the Packer fan who stabbed a Seahawks fan at a fashionable Twin Cities restaurant right near Rudolph's.
So somebody stabbed somebody. It was a Packer fan?
Packer fan stabbed another guy who was mad at.
How do you know he was a Packer fan?
He's been identified as a Packer fan by authorities.
So it's like somebody just said he's Joe Blow, Packer fan. Oh, is that how you people think you put people in classifications in Minnesota?
Well, I think he had an Aaron Rodgers jersey on.
First of all, anybody can buy an Aaron Rodgers jersey. It doesn't make him a real Packer fan.
That's your defense.
Might have been an Aaron Rodgers fan.
Yeah, I guess it's possible. I just think it's kind of embarrassing.
Been pretending to be a Packer fan to make him look bad.
Hey, do you know? Are you familiar?
Maybe they planted the shirt on him. How do you know?
Yeah, I guess they could have.
I wouldn't put it past Minnesotans.
No, we're very sneaky that way. Are you familiar with Fond du Lac County?
Sure, I am.
Big night a week ago. Bye-week Saturday night, early Sunday morning. 6 DWI arrests within like a 90-minute stretch in like a 3-mile radius.
I find it hard.
Well, it's on the record. I mean, it's embarrassing. What's the deal? You guys.
Well, first of all, it was a bot.
What's that?
What's the point? You know, you don't need to. You don't need. It's a bye week.
Don't drink during a bye week, is what you're saying.
I take a bye week. I take a little time off.
I don't believe you on that. Where are you staying downtown? Can you tell us?
What's that?
Where are you staying in Chicago? Any place good?
I can see the Wyndham from where I am.
Oh, okay. But that's not where you're staying.
Michigan Avenue.
All right. Well, that's pretty fashionable.
Well, the state pays for it, so I don't really care. You know, it's your good tax dollars I have work.
Be careful, because the bars are open till 4 a.m., so you could get yourself in some trouble.
But the problem is there's bear fans here.
Yeah, well, it's Chicago, Carl. I mean, what? They're not going to have...
And by the way, that pizza is terrible. It's terrible. It's all. It's like a 8 feet thick. It's just like, that's not pizza.
What?
That's lasagna. Maybe someone should tell people in Chicago that that's not pizza. That's lasagna.
That's not lasagna, but that's okay.
That's lasagna.
Let's start picking games, shall we? Because I'm losing the thread here. Let's start with the Bears. Atlanta. It's the Sunday night special. The Falcons, fresh off just a dismantling of the 49ers last week on the road, are 3.5-point favorites at home against the Bears. Sunday night game, football in America. Gerby, you're in last.
Yeah, you should hear these people down here. They all think they're going to win, but they're not going to win because Atlanta is going to win. Because Atlanta is actually pretty good. They got that Matt Ryan, or whatever his name is. He's pretty good. And the Bears are terrible. So I think the Bears will lose this game by, 2 touchdowns.
2 touchdowns, you say?
Easy.
Dan from Woodbury?
I like Falcons. I like their coach. I like their quarterback. I like their wide receiver. I like everything about the Falcons, especially their name. Do you call them Falcons or Falcons? I like Falcons. I
go kind of back and forth. Falcons sounds more... Falcons sounds a little bit more continental and sophisticated.
Yeah.
Sounds like it's stupid.
And I do. I mean, I like Cutler a lot. I mean, I really do, and I think he's got a he's got a bright future in the National Football League and in Chicago. And I know he's the wild card kind of in the game if he plays well. It's hard to, if he plays well, I don't see how the Bears are never in a game unless their defense is just terrible. But I just like the Falcons. I like them at home, and I like the way they're playing. I think they're confident, and I'm going to go with the Falcons. They'll not only win, but they'll cover that points, I think, pretty easily, too.
Guardsy, you're also 8-8, right?
Yes, and I agree with both of them. I agree with Dan, and I agree with Carl. I think the Falcons, and I go with Falcons, by the way. The Falcons at home will cover this 3.5. I like their quarterback. I like their running back. I also like their wide receiver, like Common said. They will cover that 3.5.
I'll take the homer pick. I'll go... What I really believe is it's going to be a very close game, and if you put a gun to my head, which I'd rather you didn't, I would pick Atlanta to win it, but... that extra half point, it's 3.5, that extra half point, I think it's a 3-point ball game, basically, is what I'm saying. And I think the Bears also have a revenge factor going. They literally handed the game to the Falcons last year. That's my alibi. An embarrassing prevent defense that basically allowed Atlanta to get off a last-second field goal. They're going to remember that, is what I'm trying to say. And they'll cover. They won't win. Atlanta will win, but the Bears will cover. Game number 2, boy, this is a classic matchup. Green Bay at home, favored by 13.5 over Dan from Woodbury's Motor City Kitties. Carl, we start with you.
Well, I think, first of all, they probably, by the time the game starts, our point spread will move, and it'll be more like 16 or 17.
What are you talking about?
Because, I don't think this is a good matchup. The Packers are good and the Lions aren't. So I think that when you look at the matchup, which is what you should do, the Lions are bad. So
Boards have been restored.
Who's that little kid?
Boards have been restored.
Well, first of all, I think this is. I don't think. Here's what I know: I know that we are starting to bring the old band back together. That's what I like to say.
What does that even mean?
We got Mark Tasha back.
Oh, that's great.
So we're putting the band back together.
Why don't you bring the steroid-addled tackle that you spent all that money on? It was going to be the greatest tackle ever. Why don't you bring him back too?
That was a bad draft choice. That was.
Yeah.
We've made, but the bottom line is that he's a failure. So he was. Tony Mandich is who you're talking about.
Yeah, I can never remember his name. Thanks for reminding me, Carl.
I think that the Packers the offensive line starting to come together now. I think that Aaron Rodgers is going to have, like 6 touchdowns or something like that. And I think the Lions are bad, so the Packers take that one easy. And I'll be there.
Dan from Woodbury?
I'm about to go through the Lowry. If I lose, you call me back. The line, that's